It's always a good day for a fire. Can you see it? Can you see it? I hear the lake roaring, the wind through the trees, sleet hitting the walls of my teepee. I'm stalling. I mean, I could go pick up my paycheck right now, put it in the bank, uh, buy something. But instead, I voluntarily chose to sit in front of a fire, in front of the TV. I'm going to talk about three things. First of all, I'm going to talk about this weird night that I had. Then I'm going to talk about why I'm not making too many videos anymore, and I'm just what I'm doing, and a few treasured objects, just because. And yes, it's like, look at me, look at what I have. There's like a cat catching a mouse and bringing it to a doorstep. You know, nothing more than that. I'm not claiming that it has any relevance, these two objects that I treasure, but, you know, it is what it is. And then I'm going to talk about selling bows, because, yes, my friends, it is bow season, and kind of an interesting twist, because things run in cycles. But first of all, the weird night. It's not usual, and it really hasn't happened more than a couple times. But the other night I was unable to get to sleep, because suddenly I realized, wow, I'm 60. I probably only have, who knows, and this is just the thought process, it's not in reality. I might be able to run strong until I'm 100, but it's like, if I'm following statistics, I probably only have 15 good athletic years left. I'm going to extend it to 75, where I could ride my bike and unicycle, go running. You know, there are 100-year-old marathon runners, but it was just my frame of mind. It's like, wow. And I don't have that many years, again, not rational, to perform my job, to be in this place that I love so dearly, which is so important to me. But I'm sure that I could be 120 and still, you know, be here. So I got a lot of years. But I just was in this mindset that, like, wow, my life is ticking down. And sometimes when you're laying in bed in the dark, you know, things get to you, which when you're on your feet and you're active, they don't. But it just is what it is. Now, next morning we had this, we woke up to this big heavy snow that wasn't deep, but it was one of those wet snows when it's warm. And so there's a lot of ice to scrape off the driveway and stuff, and I felt great. All that went away, because I was out there shoveling the bad kind of heavy, icy snow, and it was no problem. I did it like a 12-year-old, a powerful 12-year-old. And so I felt good. Yeah, I've got thousands of years more ahead of me. It was just one of those weird, in the dark kind of feeling sorry for yourself, kind of pitiful pity parties. But then I got to thinking, aside from being able to shovel that wet snow like no business and feeling good enough, you know, once I'm fully over my cold to go running, you know, I'm doing all right. I've got a lot of years ahead of me. But I also started thinking about the past. Now, when you're younger, you do stupid things, you make people upset, worried, sad. But all this stuff that I did in the past that I shouldn't have done if I had common sense doesn't matter anymore. If any of these stupid things, which I need to stress, were not malicious, were not criminal in a way of stealing from anybody or hurting anybody else, if any of these things were illegal, it doesn't matter anymore. The people involved are gone or don't think about it. You know, if I caused my parents worry, and this is, I know, kind of sad, but it is what it is. Causing my parents worried or wasting their money or something doesn't matter anymore. You know, they have passed on. All this stuff, basically, that I did as a stupid kid was erased. And I started thinking also that, you know, I did a tremendous amount of stupid things when I was in my youth. Me and my friends. Again, not malicious, you know, and not antisocial really, just stupid. I should have done more. I shouldn't have worried about it, because there would come a point in my time, hey, all the potential negatives are washed away. You know, it is true that you don't regret when you're old like us, if you're in my generation or beyond. You don't regret, really. Some do, some don't. You know, it's just, there's exceptions. You don't regret what you did, you regret what you didn't do. I should have hit that gas a little harder. I should have climbed a little higher, you know, because I got away with it clean. Even though I was, from time to time, hiding in my bed under the covers, worried that the police were going to get me, you know, kind of a thing. And again, not malicious, just stupidity. Examples. When I was at Michigan State University, they kept a file on me because I was industrious. They even made me go to Western for a year. Take a year off. We don't want you here. And after a year of Western, I was accepted back to MSU, where I wised up, did a lot better, and graduated. Knocked on a friend's door. Hey, I've got an idea. Hop in the car. You know, and I was half in the bag at this point. We did a lot of that. The rules were different. And it's like, hey, there's the president, John Diabaggio's house. Let's ask him a few questions. So at like 2 in the morning, knock on the door at John Diabaggio's house, the president of MSU, and we have an interesting conversation. He didn't kick us out, didn't call the police, but he allowed these two stupid, drunk college students to sit on his couch and ask him questions. You know, relationship problems kind of thing. And he's like, well, boys, I'm going to get back to sleep. It's nice talking to you. Find something else to do. I actually also asked him, would it be okay if I snuck into the botanical gardens and took cuttings off the metasequoia? He's like, go for it. You know, this Diabaggio was a cool guy. And so what we wound up doing was, we had another 6-pack of Drurys of all things. And I'm like, hey, Chris, let's climb the smokestack at the power station. So we were like Spider-Man, climbing up the side, made it to the 4th story. I believe it was the 3rd or 4th story. And there's the tower with the ladder right there. So I'm like, made a running start and leapt. The difference from the top of that building, 3 or 4 stories, it was high enough to really get messed up, you know, if we messed the ladder, and caught the ladder, other hand on my 6-pack of Drurys. And so there we were, climbing up this metal ladder. And I remember my feet were sore the next morning, climbing 640 feet of like steel rungs, round rungs. Get to the top, and Chris is sitting there kind of gripping the top of the smokestack. And I'm like, hey, Chris, drinking my Drurys, walking around the rim, look at the sky, and, you know, just totally absorbed by the view. Wound up drinking the rest of the Drurys. Chris didn't have any. I drank the whole 6-pack up there on the smokestack. Left the empties. I didn't throw them down in the stack. I was responsible, environmentally sound. Just left the 6-pack with the empties up at the top of the smokestack. Well, it turns out in the school paper, mysterious 6-pack found on top of the smokestack. So I cost MSU money. They had to increase the fence around the place to keep people from climbing the stack. I thought that was kind of funny. Another instance, I'm just kind of talking here. You might get a kick out of it, you might not. John, how dare you do stuff like that? Had this Monte Carlo with this built up big 8-cylinder, you know, very cammy. It was a wonderful car. It was quite speedy. It wasn't your mama's Prius. And so we wound up, hey, there's a frat house, and it looks like they're having a party, and for some reason they left their keg unattended. So we relieved them of that. They were irresponsible keg owners. So Brian and I dragged that keg off, put it in the back of the Monte Carlo, and we're just driving around, you know, partaking in a little bit of beer. Drove all night. But at some point, I'm like, hey, let's go to Lansing Community College, which was in Lansing. We went to MSU. And let's get somebody to ride along to do the pumping. And so we wound up capturing, I can't think of another word for it, capturing an English professor from his office at LCC. Threw him in the back of the Monte Carlo. And this is where we're talking about, you know, it's been a long time, so there's no way for us to get in trouble for that anymore. John's confessionals. And it turned out he wound up drinking a bunch too. He was in charge of pumping the keg. Well, We were about done. We had enough. The three of us couldn't finish a whole quarter barrel, so we drove him back to LCC, deposited him, or at his house, I don't remember. Things are a little foggy then. And I wound up putting the quarter barrel in the pickup truck in a parking garage, and then went home and slept. I might have also had this urge to, yeah, John's confessional, drive a car on the frozen Red Cedar River at MSU, and I'm not going to drive mine, so I found my friend's car and drove his car on the ice. I'm not going to ruin my car. But that's enough of that. Now, next subject, just random stuff. I'm not carrying my phone around all the time. What I'm doing, treasured objects, is I've got, let me undo this thing. You can process my confessional here. I did all sorts of stuff like that. Did you know Volkswagen Rabbits float? Georges Favre-Jacot pocket watch. It's not solid gold, it's gold plated, gold filled as they say, but it actually works and keeps time. It's one of my treasured objects. It's from an era when people built stuff with style. If you ever go into an old house and you see the woodwork, fine carpentry and joinery, you look on, say, a bureau, if they have a lot of antiques, everything had style. Everything was produced with style, beautiful stuff. Not anymore. We live in a disposable society, but things had class back then, so I like this. Another one of my treasured objects, the only one of my boomsticks that I actually display, is my, made between 1912 and 1915, Stevens Model 235, beautifully restored, side by side. You know, that seems to be a really cool kind of era for me. My grandpa walked up from Mexico about 1910, you know, and this fellow saw the advent of flight, running out of the house, getting the kids outside, my aunts, my uncles, and my mom. Flying machine, you know, and I picture, what did that gentleman see in his life? Going from horses to cars, to airplanes, to space flight, to landing on the moon. Going through all these big shifts in society. Paradigms. $10 word. People that think they're smarter than everyone else, which they really aren't, use big words like paradigm. Probably a lot of grad students. That's that. Okay, now let's, I have actually made quite a few videos, and I don't put them up because they just go into rants. You know, right now, at this juncture, we are the people sitting on horseback yelling at the people racing around in their horseless carriages. We're at this point in our society where there is going to be this huge shift. We're seeing it, including something as simple but as repugnant as the shift in the Rankin Bass style animated Christmas things. If you remember, like the year without Santa Claus and Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer and Frosty the Snowman, which celebrated the innocence of youth, to this newest abomination made by Sarah Silverman and Seth Rogen, Santa Inc. If you don't believe me, look at the trailer. This thing is just vile, vile, vile. I'm going to stop myself right there, or I'm going to get in a big rant about everything. But bows, I would say for some reason, but it's completely understandable because it's a wonderful bow style. I have been getting so many emails and so many messages lately, people wanting to buy this style of bow, a gullwing, you know, the triple bend plain style horse bows. And so I think, you know what, I haven't done that in any numbers in a long time. I think that this is going to be the winter of making these three bend horse bows, one at the handle and then one on either side, three bends. I would, and I have made the Cupid style, adding recurves to the end, but it adds extra stress to an already stressed bow. You know, so generally speaking, I would say that unless it's going to be for display purposes or what have you, medicine bow, I would stick to just a gullwing and not add the recurves. It just stresses things out a little bit more. You know, you don't get anything for free. Now here's the hitch. A lot of bow makers will say take commissions and stuff, but I don't really like that because it just adds pressure, that is unnecessary. Oh, I have to have this bow made. But what I am going to do that's going to get these 3-bend bows into people's hands is I'm just going to make a run of them. I'm going to make a number of them. No, probably sell all of them. I usually sell out pretty good. The second reason why I'm not going to really take commissions and stuff and say take money down and get bound to something, when this is my time of year to just not be tied to anything, because I'm tied to so much stuff during the season, 7.5 months straight, no days off, morning till night, being concerned with my job. It's intense. And so when I get my time off, I don't want to force myself into that when I don't have to, because I will sell everything I make. Another reason why I don't want to get into this whole commission thing, but still get people's hands on bows, is that there is a period of time it takes to make one because of the sinew curing. It takes months for the sinew to cure. So if you were to have me make a bow, there's a lag time in me getting started, and then there's a huge lag time in the sinew curing, and then some things can happen, and a few of those bows that I make don't work out for some various reason, maybe an internal defect in the wood or something. So after 2 months of waiting for the sinew to fully cure, almost fully cure, it's kind of a curve, there might be a problem with it. And so in many respects, if I do a commission on a certain kind of bow, I have to make 2 of them to be assured after 2 months of waiting and not make somebody wait another 2 months, I'll have an extra one. You see where I'm going with this? So don't worry, I'm going to make gull wing bows. Actually going to pick up some wood today because I'm getting paid and I've got money in my pocket soon. But yeah, the year of the gull wing plus 1 talisman that a fellow is going to have me make, which I could make those. I could make those. It's easy as falling off a log because I've made so many of them. They're basically a version of my paddle bow, which I've made hundreds and hundreds and hundreds. I try to think of each particular bow and where it went, but there's just no way. I'd have to have the brain of Elon Musk. Oh, in for a penny, in for a pound. Let's add another category to this. Cryptocurrency. I'm going to blend that with the paradigm shift. Well, we went from an era when people were producing high quality things with pride. And when a person was young, they would think, father, mother, it sounds kind of like Jim Morrison. Father, I want to make this when I grow up. Father, I'm going to be a farmer. Father, I'm going to be a veterinarian or a doctor, or I'm going to build carriages, or I'm going to do this, and so I'm going to go to school, or I'm going to be an apprentice and a journeyman and learn a craft. We've gone from that paradigm to, how can I make money without doing anything? I'm going to be an influencer. I'm going to invest in this and that and the other thing. How can I make money without producing anything? How can I make money without actually being an important part of society? How can I make money without being a cog in the great machine of the world? How can I just make money? It isn't end into itself. And so they came up with this stuff called cryptocurrency. It's perfect. You can make up your own money. And like a pyramid scheme, like a Ponzi scheme, you can become a millionaire by being smart. It takes brains to do this and some ambition, but you're not producing anything. You're just making money off of other people for actually no real reason. I want to get another piece of wood, but I don't want to take some near my camera. And so they came up with cryptocurrency. I've got some of the original stuff. The only preface I'm going to add to this is the stuff I'm going to show you, the original cryptocurrency, is actually more real than Dodge, whatever it is, Dodge Money, Dodge Coin, Dodge Rams, and Bitcoins. Bitcoin is nothing more than a Pokemon card. Doesn't mean anything. I mean, they're kind of pretty and people trade them for big money, and if you had a Japanese Charizard or a Jigglypuff, it's worth thousands of dollars, but it's just a freaking stupid little piece of paper with a pretty picture on it. It's nothing more. Bitcoin. You can trade it and stuff like that without serving any purpose. But what about Dogecoin? Magic cards. Again, pretty little pictures. It just started out as a little game. Now people are going for it. These are my kids. I have no clue about these things. And I resisted these things as much as I resisted learning how to operate a computer, because the original time machine. Cryptocurrency. That's what it means. Doesn't mean anything. And what with the shift in paradigm from morality to just nothing matters, you're without a Santa going to Santa Inc. and everything else. Again, I'm in danger of going off on a rant here. Same thing with cryptocurrency. They go hand in hand. Let's exist just for the sake of existing. Well, that is all. It is time now to collect my dollars that I worked for ethically through hard work, determination, and a belief that I am doing something that matters. Yep, okay. What a weird video. I love this time of year. Have a good one.